can't get the intro right. This is like the 5th time I've shot it, and I'm by myself in the garage. I just can't get the words out that I'm trying to say. Right, this is how it works. I'm very fortunate. I've got cars, got motorbikes, got all this stuff, and I'm even more fortunate with my wife. She never complains. She always just, whatever makes you happy. She's so understanding and easygoing. I'm the luckiest guy around. And so with that in mind, I always make sure that I do the jobs that she wants first before I come out and enjoy myself here. Now that might be fixing something, it might be cleaning up inside, it might be mowing the lawn, which is what this is about. And whatever free time I've got after we've been out and done all the things we need to do, then I come out and have a play. Now, a few days ago she asked me to do the lawn, and I always notice lawn too, because when it's long it just looks terrible. And quite often I've shot things on doors and bits and pieces here, and you've seen, a lot of the time the lawn looks pretty shabby. So I got the mower out yesterday, or a few days ago, sorry, and I had a heck of a time starting it. It just wouldn't go. So I decided to repair it yesterday. I spent a few hours on it and brought the camera with me, so I hope you enjoy. I want to start doing bodywork on this today and realised that I've forgotten to put little bits of phosphoric acid here and there before I actually start work on it. There's some in the back there. We need to get this started. So I think I'll start in the morning. So under the house and thinning out a bit of a starlet hoard. Some of this stuff can go straight in the bin, making room and that sort of thing. There's an XC rear screen there I've got to get out. I've got to get a seal for that. Just all sorts of rubbish. Oh yeah, it's all blowing now. Old kids' bikes and baby seats and guards and tailgates. And I saw this thing up there. Well, up there, you can see the lawnmower. Picked that up off the rubbish pile soon after we moved in here about 15 years ago, and take a look at that. Okay, you can hear people inside. This thing I picked up off the rubbish pile 15 years ago, as I said, very soon after we moved in. It's an old Victa from the 70s with the sort of recoil start on the top there. You can see I've got the torch. I had to get some parts for mine. I forgot about this, and I've never heard it run, don't know anything about it. Just the fact I saw it there and pushed it under here and then forgot all about it. So this is sort of motivated by a guy on YouTube called Martin Butler, and he has a YouTube channel, Retro Restore. He does the same sort of thing I do. He mucks around with old bits and pieces he finds and fixes up cars and motorbikes, and he's doing a Peugeot motor scooter at the moment. But one thing he did was he did this series on World's Worst Lawnmower, and I dropped him a message and said I remembered about this one. I said I should do this, but I haven't got time at the moment, but I just thought I'd have a bit of a look at it. And I don't even know if it's seized or not. I'm just getting cobwebs out of the way. It's got compression. It's only got compression. I reckon we could fix that. I don't know. Leave a comment if you reckon it's worth doing. I love little jobs like this. They're good fun. That's a lovely gold hammer tone, real retro. That's got to be early mid-70s with that starter on it. Anyway, Martin, if you see this, what do you reckon? Should we do it or not? Lying in dirt. Which way does this go? Goes that way, I think. So it's not seized. I think you turn it and then you hit that thing. Or we pull it out. Or maybe, I don't know. Maybe it goes. I don't know how that works. It's got rat poo on it. No petrol, which is good. How do you release that thing? Oh, maybe you got that. I don't know. Okay, that's under spring tension. That's really bad. It's pretty dicey, so I think we'll just leave that one for now. And have a look at the one in the shed. I've got to do a bit of service work on it. Right, well, I've only had 2 lawnmowers. This is the second. The first one, I think I had for 17 years, and the only reason I got rid of it was because the base was all cracked. All around the wheels and all on the deck. And of course it had flexed when you were using it, and I started getting a bit scared. This is the second one. I've had this one for 10 years maybe. Just 70s ones. And they're super reliable. Now the only problem with this, it leaks fuel everywhere. You can see I've been grabbing it to push the fuel line back in because it keeps oozing out. And every time the starter cord breaks, I keep putting it in and I put it wrong, and it's shorter and shorter, so you can only get a short throw at this to start it, so it's no good. And the blades are pretty well knackered, so I think we'll just give it a bit of a power wash and see how we go. Taking a while to get that off. I'm not too worried about filling this thing up with water. In fact, I couldn't care less. I think it's missing a screw, isn't it? I think it's missing one from there. Actually, what I'll do is I'll pop that off, take this off, and is there any water in there? No, I think it's fairly dry. Still got juice in it, but I'll just give that a bit of a squirt. Dirty thing. And keep going. Still got oh great, just fired straight into my crotch. Let's get under that. Right, that was a bit nicer. Still very grungy, but just going to change this cord over. I've got some new cord here. This thing isn't recoiling the way it should. I think I'm just going to cut that off. What I think we'll do then, just hold that there. Let's just rewind the spring. I've just got to tie a knot in this. You can probably just hear wind noise here. This is a problem because I've got to get this hole here. It goes through to the other side of the pulley. I've got to get it out of the central part. So I'm just going to try to put a snare in there, poke that through and then catch it and pull it through, if you know what I mean. I've tried winding the spring with the cord out and then putting the cord in. It's just too fiddly. So I'll try this way first. Here we go, I think I got it. I don't know, I'm just trying this. I've just got it poking through a little bit. Hang on. I'm just going back so that if I stuff up this end of it, it doesn't matter because there's all this. So I can just cut that off if I end up sort of cutting it up inadvertently by doing this way. So I'm going to pull that through a little bit. So what we're doing is I'm just holding that as I wind the spring up. Oh, and it's bloody strong. And look, I've no doubt Victa mechanics are watching this thinking, you idiot. But I'm not that fussed about it because I'm not an expert and I don't pretend to be an expert and I've got no bloody idea what I'm doing. I'm a car guy, not a mower guy. Anyway, so I think that spring's going to be enough. It's got a lot of tension on it. Oh. And so what I'm going to do then is feed that through there. And that way that the spring do the rest of the work in winding up the cord. That is a ton of pressure. Alright, so what we do then is pull the old one out. If we let go of this, we're screwed. We've got to do it all over again. Hang on a minute, I've lost my nice cigarette-y bit on the end of it. There we go. Lovely. And then push that through. And then tie a little knot. And when these come off, these knots, they're a pain. They're an absolute, unadulterated pain in the ass because you've got to start all over again. I'm not going to double. Will that fit inside there? Yep, I reckon it will. Pop that in there. And I'll just cut that off. And I can see that if that knot, when I go to start it, if that knot looks like it's going to be... Oh. That's a lot of tension. That's good. Right, so for people who don't normally watch my channel, we do everything from motorbikes to car restorations to big Plymouths, all sorts of stuff. Anyway, let's talk about these. These are the blades. Now these ones are rigid and they're supposed to, I think, have some resistance if you hit a rock or whatever, but this one's got 4 obviously. Now these mowers only actually had 2. Somebody had fitted this deck later to it, not deck, what do you call it, this rotor if you like, later to it. The guy I bought the mower from actually was bragging about it. He said it just cuts so much better. Now, these are $10 a pair, and that's really good value. They're supposed to be replaced every year according to the instructions, and I've had this 10 years or something and never looked at it. Probably more, I don't know how long I've had it for, but from 1982 to 2013. So, just before I take them out, I'm just going to measure them. So there should be 120 millimeters, which is right. They're actually slightly smaller than those, which suits me, which is cool. Victa lawnmowers in Australia are a significant thing. In fact, we had in the 50s the toe cutter they used to call it. It was a sort of a flat deck with a cylindrical petrol tank and everything. Quite collectible now. Really quite collectible. You see them advertised periodically on eBay and this sort of thing. And of course, retired guys seem to like doing them up. Right, so we know that's the right blade, so we can go ahead and take these off. Just before I hit this with a rattle gun, I feel like there's something in my hair. Hang on, there we go. So we'll just give them all a bit of a spray. They're pretty dirty underneath. I think what we'll do is we'll wire brush the underneath. I might have to give it another power wash, but you can see, just looking at this, the condition of the deck is absolutely lovely. And that's, as I said, with the other one I had, it was all cracked all over the place between the where the motor mount is, right up to the wheels and around the wheels and everywhere. It was a mess. And it used to wobble. The whole motor would move around on it. It was just a matter of time before it actually gave up. Now, we've heard to Martin before with his world's worst lawnmower. This certainly isn't the case, and the one under the house isn't either. But he was pulling things out from, gee whiz, it looked like about 6 cubic metres of blackberry bushes, 12 cubic metres of blackberry bushes or something. He had ones that barely should have rolled out to the curb to be picked up by the council. So this is nothing like that. This is just a quick service. So I think we'll get the zap going. I might get a wide brush first and just brush that thread off because it's bound to have some muck around it, particularly given that grass is quite acidic when you cut it. And if you look at some Jim's mowing trailers and this sort of stuff, they're corroded out. They absolutely rust out where they put the lawn clippings. So I'm just going to get a wide brush and clean that up a bit. Now people spend stupid money on mowers, and I saw one in the shop where I bought these parts, and it was a 2-stroke with a large deck on it, something like $1,100. I thought, my God, this was 80, and the other one I had was 180, and you get so much use out of them. You know, these things. The only time the other one packed up was when a friend used it, and I think he picked up a coat hanger or something and damaged the bottom seal of the engine. And that caused some grief. So, you look after these things, they literally go, you can get 50 years out of them. These battery ones, they're much better. Right, let's take you off and have a bit of a look. Very good. I wanted to take this off because I just want to check for cracks or anything like that. Where we got grand it is. Ew. Okay. So I'll clean all this up. There's all hair and obviously run over something hairy. Just getting a bit of grunge off here. This stuff. These are nylox, so they shouldn't have let too much grunge in. We'll just take those out and see how we go. Do we? Right, let's see what that gives us. Alright, so we can clean that up properly. Those blades are stuffed. Right, so I've cleaned this up very roughly, and it's all good news. There's nothing wrong with it. As I said, you know, this is 1970 whatever. Whatever the case, with this much use and sitting out in the elements and all this sort of stuff, it is prone to not just corrosion but also cracking. And that's my ultimate nightmare. In fact, after every mower, I always put it to its side, just have a quick look underneath. There's no cracking around the boss in the centre, and there's no cracking around the where the blades are mounted on these areas here. This, I would think, is for an alternate type blade, but of course now we use the Victa ones that have these sort of elongated keyways on them, so that when we pop them in with the washer, they're going to lock in to that there, to those slots there. Even though I just demonstrated it really badly. There we go, that's it there. But before we do that, we're going to look at the old blades. They tell you a lot. Now, they're mostly like this. There's a few little chunks out and wear on the edge there. That's all good. These ones, these two here are fine. This one here though is starting to show. I hope you can see this. There's a crack in there, and that's bad. We don't want cracks, because what that means is that's going to continue unless it has a hole in the end. It's going to continue, which means the piece is going to fly off. This one's particularly bad. It's actually starting to open up. So we got to this in the nick of time. It's difficult to see from the bottom, which is where you examine them from, and you only ever see this bit here. But from the top, it's plainly obvious, and that's really, really bad news. So that's the way that is. Now these things here, of course, we need to. We've got a wave washer, and we've got a plastic insulator type washer, which goes in from this side like that, and then that of course locates into the. I'm wearing my garage trackies. These are really bad, these things. They're sad, so please excuse me. They go in like that, and of course they're torqued up. Put that there, followed by a nylock, and then we torque that down. So that's how that all works, and it's all pretty simple. Okay, I'll put my torque wrench away, and we should be good to go.
Yeah.
Right.
That's everything.
Let's see if we can put that. Okay. And on that boss, that should clear. It goes that way, doesn't it? Yeah, it goes this way. Let's see, it's all clearing. We've got to check that clearance. Anyway, look, I'm just going to pop that in. That way, it's like a lock. So that's all good. It seems to be clearing. Oh, it goes that way, doesn't it? Well, going anti-clockwise. It's very close to the edge, but they're a tiny bit shorter than the old ones that were there. Right, so our mower doesn't go. It's obviously full of water or something's gone wrong. A couple of wires fell out of the carburetor. It's a bit of a mess. I think it was just sort of hanging on for dear life, running, and I've gone to clean it and of course made a mess. Which I don't care, because I picked up another mower for 29 bucks off eBay from a lovely bloke called Stuart in Bowen. So he started it and ran it. There's a trick with this, you have to lean it right over on this side to get it fuel into the carburetor before it starts, but of course what that does is it then puts all the oil up here and it blows smoke when you first start it, which I don't care about. So this is a bit weird because we've got this shaft arrangement here. I'm going to pop this off here. So of course there's a nut which has a shoulder on it that goes down into there and holds it all in. And normally you would loosen that and head it flush with the end of the crank with a hammer while you put upward pressure here. That didn't do anything because that shoulder, you've got to have it a little bit further undone for that shoulder to clear the keyway. So there's 3 holes. They were blank, so I couldn't find my 1/4 inch core, so I've used a 6mm metric tap, and of course 3 volts from the Department of Metric bullshit. And so what we're going to do is just pop that on, because it does resemble automotive, what do you call it? Harmonic balancer, because that's what this is for. So I'm just hoping it doesn't yank all the threads out, because it was stuck pretty bad. Mowers are shocking for having a lot of moisture left in them, And of course then it makes things really, really difficult. So I'll put this in and we'll see where it gets us. Hopefully it gets us somewhere. I'm not sure that it will though, but it's not going to be hard. It's a mower for God's sake, so it's going to be a pretty easy fix. It's not like it's a car or anything like that, but anyway, we'll give it a go. But anyway, let us go ahead with this and try and give it a pull. Something's happening. Gosh, came off. Woohoo! That's good. We just have to not lose this key. That keyway there. So I'll pop it against the magnet and let us try and figure why this doesn't work. Rightio, so what we've got here, primary winding coming out of the coil. What do we got? There's your condenser, your points obviously. That comes out, and what happens is if you earth this, it earths out that whole primary winding and stops you getting spark. Now the only thing I can think of here that's immediately obvious is when I was power washing this thing, some crud has got into the points. I can't say how it got in, but I reckon if we just get a bit of wet and dry and clean those up, we should be good to go. Now this mower did suffer from not much power. Well, it's a Victa 2-stroke, so I probably didn't have much to begin with. It didn't have much power and it was getting harder to start. So there's a good chance that we had to do this anyway. Set the kettle on for me, will you? I've got that wire there. I might just get, that's all taped up there too. I don't know what the story with that is. Someone's been here before. But yeah, we'll just clean up in here so it's got a nice contact area, or at least a cleaner one for the magnetic field, and then we'll be good. Okay. Running out of brake clean, but might as well use it on a worthwhile cause. Get that off there. Let's clean all that up too, eh? Oh, come on, you son of a gun. Gotta be almost there, eh? There we go. Bit of crud around the side there. Sound like you're getting mad, Rosie. The cam for the points comes off. We'd make it disassembly nice and easy on this thing. Stripping these down and rebuilding it must be a walk in the park, but there's as you can see, there's a little ledge where this key sits. So you would put this down here, because it can only go one way because the ledge faces up. And once you get it to sit, then the key's going to lock it in, and you are good, just like that. And of course then the flywheel goes on there and locks it the rest of the way, and shoulder bolt goes in and holds that down. So I'm going to go have a little bit of squizzy at these points. Right, so I'm just going to give this a bit of a file. Hang on. Give these a bit of a clean up. Just got a bit of wet and dry in there. It's quite a harsh grit, but so harsh I'm breaking it. They're working really well. So let's just put them back. And I've got to figure out what the point gap is on this little mofo too, because I haven't got a clue. So then we have this, and I'm just going to pop in that. I'm going to leave that off for now because it's not going to tell me much about continuity. And I'm going to just start that in there. Here's my screw stick. Nip him up a little bit. And I'm just going to close that against there. I might just turn that around a bit. I'm a tidy worker, aren't I? Don't hear anything. Where's the friggin' rotor? Might be easy for me. Good. That looks like a good job. Right, so I think what we'll do, we've got this wire here, earth that, the thing stops. If it's open, then it keeps running. Rather than having the stupid throttle switch thing going on here, where you just pull the thing back to zero, I'm going to put a proper switch in, That's a massive 250 volt one, 240 volt one. I'll mount it under there on a bit of this stuff. Nice rigid bracket, and we'll find a drill bit. These are cheap, these things, dirt cheap, a drill gauge, and you will need one. Any type of fab work, you need one. So a 12mm drill, which might be right to the edge of that, but it won't matter, it'll keep it nice and still anyway. Right, it's got this switch, I mentioned before. These have a sort of a bezel on them with a little male protrusion that says that that is off and that's on. So normally what would happen in a normal circuit is, of course, when these two are bridged, that circuit's on, but we want to turn this around because we don't want them bridged because it means it's off. So we can just about face like that. So when it's bridged, it's off, and when it's open, it's on. So just got a bit of this stuff. I just forgotten how it goes. Hang on. It goes that way, and then we turn around 180 degrees. Right, so then we've got to put it this way, opposite. Whatever the case, I just got to get it on. Hang on. I just got it on in like 2 seconds. And now I'm bending it, making it look terrible. Come on, get on. No, seriously, it's making a fool out of me now. Right. You wouldn't say Martin doing this, would you? Okie dokie. That looks fairly kosher. As kosher as it's going to be, this little plastic thing that comes off, but do we want to get that off or not? Where's my little screwdriver? And one of the things, I'm waiting on some filler on Dave's petrol tank supply, which is why I'm wearing these gloves. I don't want to get dirty. Well done. I don't want to get dirty. So it's sort of such that I'm sort of alternating between the two jobs. So that's going to sit down like that, on for forward because we're moving forward, and off there. So I'm just going to tighten it up. And hopefully then, Bob's your uncle, as I always say. An American chap left a message and he said, we've never heard the term Bob's your uncle, but he uses it now, which is good. Americans don't say bloody either. They use the term bloody as in something's been injured badly and it's all bloody. So that will go under there with some nice terminals right next to the fuel tank, which is good. And I'll just make up a little earth strap to go there, to go around to the back, and the other one can go on the other side of that. So that's what we're going to go with instead of the throttle switch. I never use these crimp terminals on cars. I always solder and use the others. There is a proper crimping tool I wouldn't mind getting, which is what all the factory crimps look like. Some guy sent me a message saying I'm doing this wrong, but you know what? I don't care. I don't care. I even take these off. You can just grab that with side cutters, that blue sleeve, solder in and use heat shrink, and I like to do that. So I still buy these ones because they're everywhere and they're cheap. But I don't use them in the form they're in now. So we'll do a little mock up, see if we can get some sparkage happening. It's a rather it's a rather massive switch for what we're doing, but oh, there's a better switch. You idiot, I should have just used this. Doesn't matter, too late. I bought masses of globes and then found out and thought I'm never going to use all these, they're ridiculous. And you know what, I've run out of single filament ones. Give it a point scope of 20 thousandths, give or take. Just give it a tiny bit of lube on the cam. Hang on, where are we? Let's turn around by hand. I keep forgetting you can do that with this. There we go, just a smidge. That's all we need, and we can bang the thing back together. Just got to make sure that everything's nice and clean, and that wiring's out the way. And guide this over the key, which I'm going to turn around this way. And then we should be good. Where's the magnet? The magnet's there. I don't want the magnet there. I'm going to turn this around a bit so the magnet's facing the other way, because it's going to grab a hold of that. So that should be in the ballpark there. Cool. Straighten that up a bit. And screw it back in position. Switch in the way, that should be alright there, I think. So I've been missing that one in there. I think they're just 1/4 inch, these ones. Perhaps sometime I'll find another. Probably should have fixed that too. If you can see that spark plug down there, if we have the switch off, we don't get anything. If we have it on, we get a spark. So I'll put it back in and replace that bit of fuel line, I think. Right, so we're nearly there. We're just going to change this bit of fuel line under there. And the old one's all stiff and sort of horrible, so I'm just going to pop that on. And then we can take it out and give it a road test, so to speak. I might just leave a bit of slack on there. And I've cleaned it up sort of in a rudimentary way. Maybe that's a bit too long, hey? What do you think? Maybe take a tiny bit off. It's pretty tight on there. Maybe take a little bit. Oops. As far as conditions concerned, this is pretty good. There is a split there, I've just noticed that. Now that could spread. That's probably how my old one started. What's odd about these, as opposed to the British one, or at least the ones that Martin was showing on his channel, they're all steel decks, so he was welding to it. These are all aluminium around here. So there are a few little gremlins starting to show up. So you can MIG weld from behind and just file it out and paint it. This is just hammer tone. You can buy that stuff in the hardware and rattle cans. I'm just going to leave that with a bit of slack. And we'll go and give it a road test, hey? See if she goes. Oh, hang on. Just one more thing. We should really lubricate. Put a bit of tie shine on. Look at that. Whoa. How does it look? It looks good everywhere. What a load of crap. But it's funny. Do you think that's funny? I think it's really funny. Oh, look. It makes it all shiny. I wonder if it goes. I don't even know if it goes yet. Oh, that's funny. Tie shine his lawnmower. But people who store stuff like this, they particularly the old Victa toe cutters. It must be underneath that noise. Fuel on. Is that on? I'm happy with that. I'll go and get the other one. So anyway, this one going, eh? Yeah, that didn't work. That didn't work. What a failure. Look, the insert broke out. I think the rope just broke. It just bit me. I think it kicked back and it just broke off. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We can fix that too. That's good. Anyway, let's push this to the side. Now I think. Hang on. You always run them out so you don't get that fuel evaporating in the carburetor and leaving the oil behind. Anyway, look, hope you've enjoyed this. Enjoy your lawnmower. And I'll see you later. Ta-da.